Welcome to Roaming with Restless Women, real talk with wise, dynamic women leaders. I'm your host, Julie Noonan, CEO and founder of Intuitive Wisdom Coaching, and I'm living my dream life. I live and work in my RV, coaching senior women leaders as they navigate corporate politics, family drama, and personal goals to live their own dream lives. These women are restless. They are never done seeking new opportunities, learning, and creating value in the world. If you'd like to apply to be on the show, stick around to the end and I'll let you know how. Let's go. Hello and welcome to the 50th anniversary show. Woohoo! 50 episodes of Roaming with Restless Women. I am just so honored and so thrilled to have my coach, Laura Berman Fortang. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you.
I'm so excited.
I'm honored to be here.
I feel like I snagged the golden goose on this one, y'all. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this woman. Laura is an award-winning coach. She's known internationally as a pioneer in the personal coaching field. She is also a best-selling author, sought after speaker, TV personality, and she has been on Oprah and all national morning shows, corporate spokesperson, interfaith minister, and a performer. We have theater in common. Her TEDx, yeah, her TEDx talk currently boasts over 2 million views, which is phenomenal. Laura has 5 books published in 13 languages. She has addressed audiences around the world on topics such as reinvention, career satisfaction, and small businesses, as well as bringing coaching to diverse clients ranging from homemakers to celebrities and Fortune 100 companies. She's known for her unique career clarity, now what methodology, and her A-list coach business mentoring program. She's what's the best, most important thing about your career, Laura? That's what we're going to get started with today.
What's the most important part of my career? That's the question.
Yes.
With all the opportunities that I've had, and there comes a time when someone is a practitioner that they become, they have books and they're speaking and they're traveling and they give up practicing what they do. And I never did that. I would never give up coaching. I mean, even if it meant I only had a handful of clients, I never gave up coaching, because to me, that's the most important piece. Like that's the work. That's how I got my experience, cut my teeth. How can I be speaking about the benefits of coaching and not coach anymore? So to me, that's always been the most important thing. And it's really like my playground, like the beauty of coaching is you attract people who are either one step ahead of you or one step behind you. So it's always a learning opportunity for the practitioner too.
How did you get into coaching to begin with? Like, what attracted you to the profession?
I was a client.
Oh, okay.
This is a really interesting story. This is a story of paying attention to your intuition. I was an actor and a waitress. I was trying to fulfill my dream to be on Broadway. And I was getting disillusioned with the life, like auditioning and rejected and waiting on tables. And that wasn't what I wanted to do. And I was really miserable. And I just had this inkling to call an old acting mentor of mine. And it was a persistent intuition, like call Jay, okay, fine. It was before the internet. I couldn't look him up on the internet. I actually called 411 and I remembered he lived in New Jersey and I looked him up. I called his house and I didn't want to tell him I was having voices in my head that I should call him, so I was like, I don't know. I just wanted to reconnect with you. And I told him I was unhappy with what I was doing. And he said, well, I've become a coach. Maybe I can help you figure out what to do next. So I was a client for 2 years before I even thought of doing it myself. Like I started a small company teaching presentation skills because that was an easy jump from acting, right?
Mm-hmm.
To teach presentation skills. And then I looked at him one day and I was like, I go deep with people when it comes to presentation skills, not just how you hold your hands and what you say and how you say it. And I was like, I think I want to do what you do. And that coincided with the beginning of Coach U, which was one of two coaching schools in the United States. So I was
Mhm.
student number 16. The same 14 to 16 people started the ICF. We were the founding members of the ICF. So it really was listening to my intuition and calling Jay because Jay had my next job for me. That's how clear my intuition was. I wish my guidance was always that clear, but then it was.
Yeah,
Then it was.
that's
And that's how I
perfect.
became a club. Yeah.
So, what about coaching specifically drew you in?
It really changed my life. Like with the help of my coach, I made the decision to marry my boyfriend at the time. I made the decision to change careers. I knew I wanted to be in some kind of training and development aspect. My coach also he helped me grow up. I was 20 something years old at the time,
Mm,
I think 26 or 27. And it just really helped me think differently. And in the beginning, it was discovering that all those years of therapy, they weren't for naught, but I didn't really need therapy. I needed something
mm,
more forward thinking and proactive, and there was no such thing, right? So you go to therapy because you're unhappy with what's going on in your life. So I what drew me to it was how much it changed my life. And then I was like a converted smoker. Like I wanted everyone to quit smoking. I wanted, everyone to have
yeah.
coaching. I wanted everyone to have coaching. So I became a spokesperson for coaching, basically.
Oh, you sound like me. That's one of the things that, when you find something that really, really, really changes your life or makes something so much better, the first thing you want to do is share it.
If
And that's
yeah,
how I
if
felt
you're
about
if you're that
coaching.
kind of person, which is great, we didn't hoard it and keep it to ourselves. We were like
Absolutely.
everyone needs.
Yeah. So, one of the things that really fascinates me about the whole beginning of coaching, is the way that it is forward thinking. One of the things that I struggle with as an ex consultant is people are asking me, so what pain are you solving or what problem are you solving? And my inclination and my gut is to sure help people feel better and help them move forward away from something that's harmful to them. But it's also just, hey, I'm ready for something new. Help me move forward, help me make a decision. I have three things that I'm passionate about. I want to go towards one of them. So how did you guys at the beginning of coaching determine the difference between you and therapy?
I explain it that therapy is about healing the past so that you
Mm-hmm.
can feel whole in the present. So healing the past to feel whole in the present. And coaching is assuming you're whole and creating an extraordinary future.
Yes.
So, if someone's like, I've got three things that I want to do and they don't know what to do, that doesn't mean you're screwed up or mommy or daddy did something that makes you unable to make decisions. You just may not have criteria for what for happiness. So I look
Mm-hmm.
at it as let's determine that criteria and choose from there. Because most people inherit criteria from their upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
This will make my parents happy, or this is what a good girl will do, or this is what you're supposed to do if you spend all that money on law school and you better follow through with it. So we use other people's criteria, and that's how we screw ourselves up.
Exactly. One of the things that I focus on is making decisions based on your priorities or your value. What value are you placing to make this decision? Is it about your own personal fulfillment? That's perfectly fine. Is it about raising a child that has special needs that come first? That's perfectly fine. Making a heck of a lot of money? That's also perfectly fine. But it's the prioritization of that a lot of people get tangled up in, I think, at least in my experience.
Well, they make assumptions that they can't have something because I'm going to put my kid first, or I can't do this,
Right.
or I can't have a child because I have a high powered job, or whatever the case may be. And it's
Uh-huh.
just recognizing that, you can't do it all at once, but you can do it all in phases.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's helping people find the way that they already probably know in their own self. that's one of the things that I like about coaching as well, is that I get to help people realize what's already in them.
Yeah, and showing people where they're making, that most limiting beliefs are self-imposed. Like you
Yes.
you put it there. Nobody else put it there. You put it there. And that you can remove it just as easily as you put it there.
Well, it wasn't a coaching session, but in one of our cohorts, you called me out on that when I said, but I'm just a farm girl.
Right. That's
You
an
know?
identity, right?
Yes, I had put myself in a box a really long time ago. And until I said it out loud and then you called me out on it, I knew it in my gut, but I hadn't said it out loud to make it real. So,
Right. And how do you break out of that? Right.
how exactly? Exactly. So, tell me a little bit about how you came up with your now what methodology.
Now what came out of 9/11? I live in the New York City area, so it was very real and very much affected
Mm,
my community. And 4 days after 9/11, my phone started ringing like crazy. Like people were like, life is too short. Anything can happen. I need to put the back burner dream and put it on the front burner. I want to do something more meaningful. Like that became the theme. People wanted to do something more meaningful, and they felt this urgency that their life could change in a moment, like it had for so many people on 9/11. And I was at that point in my life speaking a lot and traveling a lot and doing conferences a lot, and everything got canceled, right? Nobody flew for a really long time. So I had an intuitive inkling in August, right? 9/11 is September. In August, I had this instinct that, I should make myself more available and take on more clients. And I had the wonderful opportunity to be able to just say, I want more clients, and I had more clients. And it saved me, because when all the speaking and the travel went away, I had clients, right? I had a way to make money. So my intuition once again had preceded 9/11.
mhm.
But then I was only able to promise people 90-day segments of my time, because I was waiting for my conferences and stuff to come back. So I'd say, well, we can work together for 90 days. And what was happening was that in 45 days, we would kind of figure out what they wanted to do. And in 45 days more, we'd start putting, feelers out there for that to happen. So it became 90 days to a new life direction. Now what? 90 days to a new life direction. And one day my book agent had called me and said, well, what are you up to? And I told her, and she's like, that sounds like a book. And so I put together beta testing groups, 5 groups, and was literally writing chapters out of the computer every week, because I made a commitment to work with these groups of people on figuring out what was next for their life. So I wrote the book in 90 days, just popped it out, popped it out, popped it out.
My gosh.
And they were my testers, and their stories became the stories in the book. So it took me a total 6 months, but the first draft was done in 90 days because I had people waiting for it. So that's how my now what methodology came to be. And it really was this premise of like, why am I succeeding with people? Like, what do they need to know that they don't know, that they can't do this on their own? And I feel like, how we learn in high school or college to figure out what you wanted to do with your life at 16, 17 years old is like an outdated paper roadmap. And we need a GPS, you
Yes.
know? So that's really what now what does for people is gets you off of it's not what you like and what you're good at.
Right.
That's the old way of figuring it out. So I never look at people's resumes. I ask them for a life story, and I give them a particular way to prepare the life story for me. And we look for themes in their story that point to their gifts and sometimes their motivation. Sometimes your motivation for doing stuff, like I said earlier, is just to please your family, and it has nothing to do with you. Or people who had to work hard ever since they were really young. Maybe there were extenuating circumstances in the home. They have
Hmm.
no idea what they want because they've been put into a particular role and never felt like they had a choice. So it was through doing people's life story analysis that I started discovering all these points where we could see what people's next direction was.
Oh, wow.
That's how now what came to be.
Oh, I love that.
This episode is sponsored by me. So, as a special gift to you, our listeners, I offer a free one-on-one 15-minute breakthrough session. Bring a problem and experience how coaching works to see if it could be of value to you. Sign up for an available time on my website, intuitivewisdomcoach.com.
And so what about how did you determine that you needed to do a TEDx? And tell me about that story.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to do TEDx's, right? But very few actually get to do a real TEDx.
Yes. I got to do a TEDx in two ways.
Okay.
I got to be at a TEDx event twice. One time I was asked to be the MC. Like someone was looking for an MC for the host of the TEDx. And I thought to myself, not that I usually make it my gig to be the MC, but actually since then I've done it a lot for different conferences and stuff. I like doing it. But anyway, I was like, I'll go and I'll see what it's all about to do it with these TEDx speakers, right? So I would recommend to anyone, if you want to go for a TEDx, go attend a TEDx event and see what those speeches are like and how they're crafted. So there I was. I got no support. I just like ran the show. The people who do the TEDx talks, they get support, not the leader, right? And I did a good enough job that the person who ran that event said, when you're ready for your own talk, let me know. So I really was very, very lucky in that regard. But I remembered my mentor, like Thomas Leonard was the founder of Coach U and the founder of the International Coaching Federation. And he had been my mentor in the beginning. And he said, it wasn't about TEDx, but he asked me once, like, what's the thing that that if you died and nobody got to know it would be a shame? And I felt like, my life story process was something that, no, people don't know this. People need to know this. So that's what gave me the gumption to feel like I had something to say that hadn't really been said quite that way before. And most TEDx events will provide you with a coach, like somebody to help you craft your talk. Most events do, because they care about the quality of the talks. So it was a great gift. And I actually found it harder to do a 12-minute TEDx than to do an hour-long presentation of any other kind. Because it has to be crafted word for word. You have this much time, the clock runs out, that's it. Like there's no second chance. So, I did get the opportunity to do that. And the fact that it's gotten so many views is just a tremendous blessing. I mean, it had gotten like 2,000 or 3,000. And then a reporter was doing a story about for Fortune. And they spoke to a coach that had trained with me on the Now What methodology. And she said, well, you should speak to the person who invented the Now What methodology. So she spoke to me and included my TEDx talk in the article. And that's when it went from 3,000 to 50,000 to 100,000. And it just kept going. So if you can hear my stories, you can see that I just kept showing up. And of course you want these things to happen, but I honestly don't know if you can make them happen, because the times that I've try to make things happen, I've been miserable. The times that, it's been miserable. The times that I've just been like in the joy of what I do and, say yes to an opportunity, even though you're scared and you don't know how it's going to come out, those are the times that really good luck has found me. Exactly. So sometimes I say coaching is about creating the circumstances by which great luck can find you.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Oh, luck, fall on me.
Yeah. Like just keep showing up and serving people and, and being smart. I know so many people in the coaching field that don't charge enough money or are afraid to charge. If you're spiritual, you shouldn't charge money. I never had that problem. I always felt like, no, what I do is worth it and it's a value. But, at the same time, it's not all about the money.
Right. What that really shows, though, is that you believe enough in your skill and your product and yourself to charge what you believe that thing is worth. You can bring the value to the person. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's energy. Like, when I
Yeah.
talk to a would-be client, I'm looking for an energetic connection. Like, do we bounce off each other well? Do we have synergy in a way? Because if you're feeling like you have to carry somebody on the sled and there isn't even any snow on the ground, it's really hard. That's not a good connection. So I'm always looking for an
Mhm.
energy exchange, and the money is part of that too.
Absolutely. Okay, so what do you think is the most challenging thing about being a senior woman leader? What are you hearing from your clients as well as what do you feel from by yourself?
Oh, oh, oh. I have experienced ageism, in the last 6 to 7 years. I've seen jobs that I do really well be like, oh, we're not going to use you next time, and they use a 30 something. And I know that was about my age, or
Hmm.
whatever. I gained 10 pounds or whatever the case may be. So I just think women have an incredibly difficult time, using their wisdom and maturity for good in certain structures, like corporately speaking, especially. Like,
Hmm.
somehow we value older men, right? So the adage that, like, a man wakes up and goes, I'm going to become president, and a woman wakes up and goes, I don't know if I'm qualified to become president. What do I have to do, and what do I have to study, and I need another degree, and no.
Right.
But can we overcome it? I think i think we have examples of women who overcome it, and most of them have to step out on their own and prove that they can do their own thing, and have people
Hmm.
start begging for forgiveness for overlooking them. um, but it's just hard to believe that in this day and age we still have to deal with that.
I would agree. I would 100% agree. As you know, I was laid off at 55 and then again at 57, both times. You know, the day before I was getting recruiting calls, constantly. And then here I am. I let my hair grow gray just out of spite, if nothing else,
Mhm.
because I am just as smart as I used to be. And as a matter of fact, have a lot more experience and know what not to do, you know,
Yep.
that they aren't going to know. But, well, I guess ageism is probably the biggest thing that we're experiencing at this point in our lives. Um, what do you think is the most important aspect about your career and what you want to give back to the world in the last half of your life?
Oh, I have less than half left.
I would no, I think we all have however much we're going to get. Yeah.
I don't want to be that old, I'll tell you.
Mm,
Um, I've always felt like, well, not always, 10 years after I left show business, I had a
mm,
recognition that I caused change. Like, that's just what's going to happen. Like, if you meet me and you like my nose ring, you're going to have the courage to go get a nose ring. Or you, you know, or it went deeper than that, and we had a coaching session and you changed
that
something.
too.
That too.
Yeah, there we go. Me too.
Now, I just got that one 2 years ago.
Oh.
I got mine in my later decades. So I've always been somebody that people change because they've met me. And like I said, in the most frivolous ways and then in more profound ways. And when I finally realized that 10 years after left show business, what I also realized was that was why I wanted to be on the stage. Like, yeah, it's fun to play a character and
Mm,
get the applause and all that and wear the makeup and whatever. But what I really loved about the theater was the transformational experience that it could be for people. Someone is their eyes are open to something. They could be open to healing. They could be open to a relationship that goes on stage that makes them dream about one, or they're moved.
mhm.
And that I realized in hindsight that that's what I wanted out of the theater. That was the power of the theater and performing. And so that's why I don't miss it very much. Like, I've occasionally done a musical just for fun, just for the heck of it in community theater. But I I get to do that every day in my job, whether it's one-on-one or I get to be in front of a crowd of people and speak. I get to create an experience where you can be transformed. And so that, to me, that's the most important aspect of my work. Like if I can't do that, I, I just don't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think everyone has something inherent in them that needs to be expressed. And it's the difference between feeling like the faucet is on and the faucet is off to your life juice.
Yep.
So that's why I help people find that life juice.
Well, I think one of that's actually a lot of the reason why I hear from teachers and from trainers, frankly, since I grew up in that industry as well, is I could do this all day long as I get one light bulb moment
That's right.
for somebody. It's not for me, it's for somebody. I want to watch somebody have a realization
That's
or
right.
a positive realization.
Right.
Sometimes they have a negative one, but that's white that we
Those
have
just hurt a
here.
little more, but
Yeah,
they are important too.
yes. Yeah, some of the most revealing things about you come out of those hard things in life, that's for sure. But yeah, I think that's one of the things that really drives the teachers, the trainers, the pastors, a lot of ways too. Yeah, so it's a great passion, I guess, or life choice. I have three questions since we're getting close on time. I have three
Okay.
questions that I ask at the end of every episode. And so I'm going to start with the first one. And if you could close your eyes,
Okay.
yeah, close your eyes. And when I say wise woman, open your eyes and describe the picture that appears in your mind.
Okay.
Wise woman.
I got the image of a butterfly
Very cool. Tell me
and
why.
wings. Um, maybe it's cocooning and coming out of the cocoon and being a butterfly, being regal, and now it's morphing into a peacock. But I know the male peacocks have the prettier feathers, but let's borrow it. Let's
Yeah.
borrow it. Yeah, just the spreading of wings. That's the
Mm,
image that I get. And
I love
that's
that.
hopefully what we do for people.
That is what we do for people is we help them come out of their cocoons. I love it. Where do you like to roam, Laura?
What do I like to what? I didn't hear you.
Roam. Where do you like to roam?
Oh, I like to roam in the mountains. I'm a mountain roamer. Um, I love babbling brooks and the shade of the trees and the sounds of the crunching under your feet. And so I'm a roamer in mountain areas.
Very cool. What does it give you?
I mean, I can smell it. Like it makes me slow down and breathe more slowly and just take it in and listen to the sounds. And it just grounds me.
Ground you. Very good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, what makes you restless in a good way?
In a good way.
Yes.
Okay. My feet are moving underneath the table. You can't see it. But what makes me restless in a good way? Um, yeah, I'm gonna say musical theater. Like,
Okay.
and why it makes me restless is because I think in musical theater, like if someone says a line from a song, it is so hard for me to keep my mouth shut. Like they don't realize that they're saying, "Oh, what a beautiful morning," and you're like, "Oh, what a beautiful morning," and
Yes.
it makes me restless because I just want to break out into song, and sometimes that's not appropriate.
Oh,
So that makes me restless.
are you letting other people create rules for you there, Laura?
Well, I like to think that I'm sane, and I don't,
I know.
and sometimes it can come across not sane.
I love it. I have the same situation when I hear especially
See?
from a great musical.
Right.
Oh, one day more, you know.
Oh, forget about it.
Oh, I could do
And
the
even
whole
and
Lena
even
Horne.
Hamilton, like with all the negative talk about immigrants, and yet there's this great line in Hamilton: immigrants, they get the job done. And that's all I can
Yes.
think of anytime anyone says that word.
I have a
Yeah.
friend who is from Italy. He's an immigrant. I worked with him many years ago. He became a naturalized citizen, and a bunch of us from the office went and supported him in that. And he has a T-shirt that says, "Immigrants, we get the job done."
Job done. There you go. Hamilton the musical. There you
Yeah,
go.
Hamilton, I love it. Well, Laura, I can't thank you enough for gracing us with your presence for my 50th episode. It's very special to me to get to this far, and it's special that I get to have my own coach here.
Well, congratulations. That is a huge milestone. And thank you so much for sharing it with me.
Thank you. I will talk with you soon. We'll put
Yep.
all of your information in the show notes, people. And if you want to get a hold of Laura, you can get the information right there. Have a good week.
Julie Noonan here. Thank you so much for listening to Roaming with Restless Women. If you're a successful senior woman leader who would like to be on this program, please visit podcast.intuitivewisdomcoach.com. If you enjoyed this interview, please share this episode on social media and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Your thumbs ups and reviews go a long way.